I'm Christina Freeman. I am co-founder of Grow Your Mind, one of the ventures from 2019. I'm really thrilled to be moderating this room today. Code Like a Girl. It is such a beautiful social venture that provides girls and women with the support, the skills, the confidence to be able to enter and flourish in the world of coding. And I just think it's such amazing work, Ali. A little bit of housekeeping first, and Julie's covered most of this. Please keep using the chat as you would like and the emojis. There is the question area, which is the question mark there up on the right-hand side. So if you have any questions for Ali, please put that in there. And if you see a question that you like, you can upvote it as well. So I think that's all we need to say. What we're going to be doing today, we're going to hear from Ali. Ali, you're going to tell us a bit about Code Like a Girl and then some exciting updates. And then you're going to reach out to the community with your asks. There is a give wall that you can actually put up your gives in response to Ali's asks, and I'll get the little link up to that give wall. If that's not working at all, just put it in the chat. If you want to respond to one of her asks with a give, just put it in the chat. So the lady that we're all here to hear from, it's over to you, Ali.
Nice one. Thank you so much, Christina. Brilliant introduction. I'm going to try and share my screen. So looks like it's all pretty straightforward. So I always feel there's extra pressure as a technologist to get this right. Hopefully you can see my screen. Christina, can you give me an audible okay if you can see it?
Yeah, it's all clear.
Excellent. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction of Code Like a Girl, what our strategy's been and what this year has in store for us. So Code Like a Girl, as Christina mentioned, and I'm glad she said the name Code Like a Girl. When I say it with my accent, I've had some really strange translations. It's a social enterprise with a mission to close the gender gap in technology. I believe that women and men's needs, so whatever they are, whether it's their health, their professional lives, their family lives, their safety even, their recreational lives, their needs are so uniquely different that if technology isn't built by teams of equal representation that have vested interests in those needs, then the experience of their world will continue to be negatively impacted. So the tech that we build today determines the world that we live in tomorrow. And if that tech is being built by a small and homogenous representation of the world, it will never be an equitable one. So this is a really important problem. There's only around 16% of positions in the coding workforce that are held by women in Australia. So gender inequality is really a matter of urgency, in my opinion. So before founding Code Like a Girl, you might have heard my very brief story of being an art school reject. After sort of picking myself after 2 years of rejections, I moved into computer science. So I have a degree in computer science and I spent 8 years working as a software engineer. And Code Like a Girl was born out of my desire to meet like-minded women who code. And so over 5 years ago, I hosted my very first ever meetup. I was overwhelmed actually by the response of people who also felt the need to sort of come together and connect with women, very, very much like the SheEO network. Since then, Code Like a Girl has grown into the education startup it is today. You can find out more information on us at codelikeagirl.com. We've taught over 500 girls through our 3D coding camps and thousands more through workshops and events that we've hosted. But nowadays, we're sort of looking at creative content online and merging that with sort of education. So how we achieve this really big mission of creating balance in the world of technology is through this really simple sort of 4-step guide and using contemporary digital online strategies. That's my background. So I've worked in creative agencies and advertising agencies. So I've built technology products and content that sort of attract that big audience. So that's what we sort of specialize in. That's the first stage of this big plan to sort of change the technology workforce is how do we create more inspired people to join and follow Code Like a Girl's work and online. And then the next piece of the puzzle is basically creating really accessible education courses that aren't designed by men for men with women as an afterthought, but actually designed for women by women. So that's exactly what we do. The third piece of the puzzle is funneling students into our nationally recognised internship programme. And then lastly, we're seeing about 40% of our interns move into permanent roles within the industry. So Code Like a Girl, COVID-19 changed our lives completely. Digital technology, has been really at the center of this pandemic response, whether it's vaccine research, online learning models, e-commerce, work from home tools. The male-dominated tech industry has boomed and is continuing to thrive, whereas in contrast, female-dominated industries are facing unprecedented unemployment. So there's a lot of women in retail, trade, hospitality, tourism, and they're facing massive disruption during this time. But even when we examine the sort of science and tech industry, we are still seeing a bit of a gap where 6% of women compared to 4% of men are being let go. So these cracks of inequality that we were aware of pre-COVID are really becoming massive chasms. And so we're doing everything that we can this year to try and remedy the damage being done. And one part of that strategy is launching short courses for women. So again, you may have heard me say that there's definitely been a gap in knowledge and a gap in education where a lot of women didn't get the kind of coding education that's available at school today. And they opted out at computing and information systems really early on. So what we try and do is create courses that have no prerequisite knowledge needed. There's a lot of women that are quite passionate about entering tech, but don't have that sort of base level knowledge or base level confidence to sort of walk into, one of these intense 6-month coding courses that require you to sort of park 6 months of your life, drink Red Bull every day, and sort of keep up with the intensity. We wanted to design something completely different for women that suited the unique lifestyles of women. And so often I talk about coding being 10% theory and 90% practical. It's very, I've been watching the Karate Kid program on Netflix. It's very much about muscle memory. There's a lot of practice involved. And so we've designed these programs for women that do exactly that, that create a really positive learning experience for women where they can get content drip fed to them weekly. It's really beginner friendly. I think we've got Lucy in the chat. I don't know if she's managed to come into the break room. She's one of our students of our courses at the moment. We've got peer network, peer support. You're supported through a cohort lead. So again, if you're sitting there, maybe you're a business owner, maybe you own a Squarespace website, maybe you're just sort of frustrated with your MailChimp or your email marketing platform, and you've just always wanted to learn the sort of basics, the ABCs of coding, then our courses are definitely for you. Our business model is built as a social enterprise, and what that means is it's a distribution of privilege whereby women and sponsors with the means help us support women with limited means. So for every 4 sales at Code Like a Girl, we actually fund a full scholarship for a woman from marginalised backgrounds or facing financial hardship. And so if you are one of those women, again, please contact us. We're sort of setting up the more established scholarship program as we speak. Lastly, I wanted to share with you just about our internship program. In the last 12 months, we've just placed about 33 women into internships. And over the 2 years that we've been running this service, we've placed over 60 women into paid internships. Now, these are with tech companies all around Australia. It's a national program. We are looking to move internationally. So if there's any tech companies from New Zealand, this is actually me skipping to my ask already, but if there's any tech companies from New Zealand who'd like to join our internship program, please get in touch. And yeah, I feel, sorry, I just like rushed through that. So here's my asks. I'm looking for more internship partners. It's probably one of the most effective ways that we can make change by investing directly in these women, by offering them entry-level support, paid positions as software engineers in your company. If you've got an established tech team, if you've got the investment budget to sort of bring on a woman, it will be the beginning of a life-changing movement within your culture. You'll create diversity. So please do get in touch. And then Code Like a Girl is also considering alternative financing or potentially investment in the new year. So if you've either been an investor or you've been invested in, or you've sought alternative financing like debt or equity or all sorts of things, I'd really like to chat. I don't have a huge extensive network. SheEO is one of the opportunities I'd love to meet other women who are in business, who I can ask these questions to, but that was something that I'm sort of still working out in my head at the moment, and would love to chat to people on a really individual experience and gain an understanding of how it was for them, whether it was positive, whether it was negative. Yeah, so that's my ask. That's my little spiel. I'm really looking forward to hearing more questions and just making this more of a conversation.
There is a lot of excitement and love coming your way, Ali. There, in the chat, your mission statement, the business model, people are really thrilled about it. And actually, I don't know why I haven't signed up to do one of your courses yet, but I definitely need to. So now's the time to be putting up, if the Miro board isn't working for you in response to Ali's asks, put it up in the chat. I have to say my link to the Miro board is slowly working its way to operate. We do have a few questions though. So from Amanda Dobson. Hey, Ali, I've been working in tech for 23 years now in program management and started my new venture due to being let go during COVID 8 weeks ago, a virtual PMO where PMs can work from home flexibly. Doing that during COVID, I'm in a place you were when you started, running out of money, a bit in a panic, trying to stay calm and stay positive. Is there any advice you can give me on how to get through to the other side and get things moving? Obviously, with tech being a little odd during the pandemic.
Great question, Amanda. And yeah, sorry to hear about your previous work. I know how tough that might have been. And yeah, I feel like I'm where you were at when I was at the start of the year, and it felt really dark. It felt particularly not having a lot of family here in Australia, and knowing that it's not a simple case of getting on a plane either. A lot of stuff felt like it was really coming down around me. What is my advice? I guess, it sounds really simple and obvious, but, when I was sharing that experience and being just really vulnerable with people I trusted, it definitely helped, sort out some of the thoughts I was having in my head. I had really, really low self-esteem. And I think, that voice in our head sometimes is really unhelpful, and it's not contributing to anything positive in our lives. But you find it difficult to differentiate between truth and fact, and really sort of those depressing or stressful thoughts that occur during that time. And talking to friends and getting evidence-based advice of like, no, Ali, you are a good CEO, and this world coming down around you, isn't a fault of your own. It's not a fault of something you did. And I think there's comfort in this year, particularly because I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, we have this never-ending pressure to never fail, and whether we, embrace the failure or not, it doesn't go away. You always worry that, the business is going to collapse, and then you'll be this public shame, no matter what size it is as well. You still told your friends, your family, but, that's an ongoing thing. And someone did say to me once, you can always quit. And I found a bit of freedom in knowing that you can always quit, but we're here because we choose to be here. We choose this path, the less traveled path, because when the highs are high, they're so high, and they're high because you made them high. And the amount of pride and joy that comes from that journey, there's only, of course, it has to balance out at times, and it's just about trusting that it'll pick up again, and also knowing that it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. I think reconnecting with what's important in life and going out to the garden and cutting off the dead heads of flowers, like moments like that, or even just doing the washing yesterday, I was just sort of like, I think it's about nourishing other parts of your life and making sure that the business is not the be all and end all. And when you do find that you have got to that situation where it feels like it, and the business feels like you're failing, and there's nothing else good and warm and lovely in your life, it's probably less about how can I fix my business and more about what else can I do in my life to make sure that I'm waking up and that I've got something to look forward to. And because, again, like, I just think that when you're in that place and you've got that positivity, you just do everything a little bit better. And sometimes that can drip on to the business. And now I just feel like I'm just talking for the sake of talking.
There's so questions in there. The only thing I would add, Amanda, is you're here at the SheEO AU Summit. So see who you meet networking wise and reach out for support. Practice asking and receiving. Okay, so there's lots of questions. What type of internship partners would work best for you? Has the most mutual benefit, so we can try and connect you to the right ones.
That's a great question. So our internship program, we do have a screening process. So I'll share with you what that is. Basically, we're looking for companies that have an established tech team. So that might mean that they have a structure where they'll have someone senior, a lead, a manager. They also have to have the resources to be able to mentor that person or provide a buddy to that intern. So what we promise our interns is that they're going to get a learning environment that will be nurturing and supported and has career progression. This isn't cheap labour for startups, which also gets confused about. And whilst we know that there's lots of opportunities in early stage startups and that budgets are a little bit tighter, what this internship program is really designed for is to give the most positive first experience of the industry. It is tough out there for women, particularly junior women who are going into an all-male team in most circumstances. You're disrupting the culture. You know, I remember the CTO of Gumtree, I saw her speak once, and she said that when she just joined a team, they just installed a swear jar so that the men would start behaving themselves. And in the first week, she'd filled it up herself. And so, you know, there's all these sort of culture shifts, and I think we forget about the people. We see these stats about 1 in 10 enrollments are women in computer science, but that stat is a woman, and she is just trying her hardest to do and follow her passion. And this is this sort of cultural nuances that come with being a minority in those circumstances. It adds a level of stress, and when you're trying to learn for the very first time, you don't need that stress. You want to feel relaxed, you want to feel welcome, you want to feel supported. And so the internship program, we look for companies that can provide that support and deliver that first positive entry-level experience, because that is the best launchpad you can give a woman and make sure that she doesn't drop out and decide never to come back again. So we're pretty ruthless in the weeding out those, vibrant, amazing startup mentalities, because we just know that they can be quite intense for someone starting in their career, and the pressures can be quite intense.
Yeah, that first experience is so foundational, isn't it? Okay, so there are lots of other questions. This is from Maria. We are accredited with the UN network, and have you had connections with the global marketplace? We'd love to take on your program partner and we'd love to take on your program and partner around rolling out Code Like a Girl in other languages.
Oh, I would love that. So we've only just completed our content for our first courses. So these courses have been created taking you totally from no knowledge to being fluent in a coding language. So we call them the ABCs, because when you finish the course, we wouldn't encourage you to write a novel just yet. I think you need to take a creative writing class. But you can read a novel, and you can write a novel, but it's going to be a shockingly bad novel. But it's the ABCs, so that's what we sort of describe it as. And we are so passionate about inclusivity, and the next part is really about getting the funds to create captions, to translate in different languages, to really open up this education to everyone. So I would love you to get in touch. That sounds like a great opportunity for Code Like a Girl.
Okay, so we've got probably a minute left. So very quickly, what age group is the focus for the program?
What age group? So at the moment, the online education is available for 18 plus. We are working on allowing younger people, but because just online safety, there's a myriad of complexities. And when you're trying to do something at scale, you ask yourself first, how would I design this for 1,000 customers? So there's just a lot to really consider before we sort of go hard with the younger age groups. But it's on our mind. It's definitely an important demographic, but probably not in the next 6 months at least.
Very exciting. There are some people that are asking if you've considered equity crowdfunding. I think we are going to get jumped out of this breakout session soon, but we have scribed all of the conversation and the chat for you, Ali. And for anyone else that's reached out and has any questions, and Ali has the capacity to follow up, then we'll try and do that.
Awesome.
So one last thing, let me see before I think we were going to get chucked out, but maybe not yet. Have you considered growth or investment through employees holding shares in the business?
I'm actually investigating at the moment. I just got quoted on an equity scheme for employees at the moment. So we are looking to set that up. And I think someone asked about equity crowdfunding. We have started to sort of investigate what that would look like. And really just sort of we're open to a lot of ideas in terms of getting the capital required to accelerate this amazing program that we've just started. So check out Airtree, I will do. I think I've heard of Virtual as well. And there's a few in Australia that I think would be pretty good.
Thank you, Ali. There's so many exciting things to come for Code Like a Girl, it sounds like. So we'll be watching with excitement and anticipation.
Nice one. Thanks so much, Christina.
Thank you.